Hey friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly. I do all sorts of videos on my channel, cooking videos, vlogs, hauls, Disney content, vlogmas, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. Today we are adding yet another video to the 12 Days of Cookies series that I've been working on during Vlogmas. And it's another recipe that I'm adapting because I've never made these before, but I eat gluten and dairy free, and that should not be a reason that I don't get to partake in all the holiday cookie goodness that's out there. So today I'm going to try my hand at making allergy-friendly peanut butter blossoms. Now I say allergy friendly loosely because obviously peanut butter is in the title and peanuts are one of the most common allergies out there. However, I'm pretty sure that you should be able to do a one-to-one swap out from the peanut butter I'm using to like a sunflower seed butter. And bonus, when you bake sunflower seed butter, it turns green. So actually these cookies are going to end up looking a lot more festive than the run-of-the-mill peanut butter ones. I am, however, going to be using peanut butter today because it's what I have on hand, and I try to use up what I've got rather than spending money on stuff just for a recipe. Hopefully y'all understand. But I am adapting it to make it gluten and dairy free, and so I'm going to show you guys the ingredients that I'm working with, and then I'm going to explain to you the accommodations I'm making to make this allergy friendly for me. So first things first, I've got 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, but I'm going to be using gluten-free 1-to-1 from Bob's Red Mill. It's my favorite flour substitute. I use it whenever I'm going to cook or bake anything. So 1 3/4 cups of that, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of butter softened. Here it is. I forgot where I left it. The reason I didn't have it with everything else is because I took this out of the fridge a couple hours ago to soften. That's literally all that means. You don't want to microwave it. You don't want to like apply heat to it, because what you're going to end up doing is melting the butter, and that's going to mess with the texture of the final product. So just a little bit of forethought, a little bit of planning. Couple hours before you're going to bake, take your butter out, set it on the counter, and just kind of leave it be so that it softens up and it's not cold from the fridge. A 1/2 cup is the equivalent of 1 stick of butter. I'm using plant-based butter, and for this particular brick, it comes in like a big slab that's the equal of 2 sticks. So I'm going to use half of this. 3/4 cup of smooth peanut butter, but again, sunflower seed butter would probably work too. A 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. That makes a difference. A 1/2 cup of packed sugar versus unpacked is a huge difference in volume. So we're going to make sure our 1/2 cup is packed down so that it's lots and lots of sugar. And the recipe does not specify whether it should be dark brown or light brown. I have dark brown on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. A 1/4 cup of granulated white sugar plus more for rolling, because we are going to roll our cookie dough before we bake it. 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of milk. I'm using the Original Nut Pods creamer. It's, again, my favorite dairy substitute whenever I cook or bake anything. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, and Hershey's Kisses. But Hershey's Kisses are not dairy free, so I have here smooches from a company called No Whey. Whey as in like the component of milk. And they are gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. They're free of, I think, like top 10, 12 allergens. I'll have them linked down below because I did get these on Amazon, and I took some out of the bag already so you can see what they look like. They are very close to looking like Hershey's Kisses. They're just a little bit slanted off to the side, I guess, so they don't get sued. But they're very, very tasty, and that's what we're going to be using in lieu of our regular Hershey's Kisses today. This recipe is intended to make 30 cookies, and I'm going to start it off by taking a bowl right here. I have my oven preheating to 375 degrees. I'm going to whisk my butter and peanut butter until they're smooth. So that was 4 ounces of butter, and we want 3/4 cup of peanut butter. So let me find a measuring cup for this. That's 1/4 cup, 2/4 cup, or a 1/2 cup. I might have just enough left in the jar for this. Okay, that's 3/4 cup of peanut butter. So you could cream this by hand, but just to make my life a little simpler, I've got my hand mixer here. So I'm going to combine these until they are smooth, and then we're going to add in our sugar. So next I want to put in 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. And there we go with that. And then we also need our 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. And this is what I mean by packing making a huge difference. That's way more than a 1/2 cup unpacked. But if I mush this down, that's a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. So volume wise, it definitely makes a big difference. So we're gonna beat these together now until they're light in color and fluffy. I didn't expect it to get too fluffy, but actually it kind of took on a bit of like a meringue texture where it started to get really big. So, all right, we're doing good then. We're gonna beat in our egg, and then we're gonna add in our milk and our vanilla and mix until just combined. So I'm gonna mix the egg first before I move on to the next steps. So for our milk, it was gonna be 2 tablespoons. So there's 1, 2, maybe a little more, but hopefully that's okay because it's already done. And we're gonna put in our vanilla as well, which I always measure with my heart, but if you're going by the recipe, that should be about 1 teaspoon. We're gonna mix this until combined, and then we're gonna come in with our dry ingredients. Now for our dry ingredients, we did need 1 3/4 cups of our flour, and I, again, am using a 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, specifically the one from Bob's Red Mill, because I find that I have the most success with this type of flour. So there's 1 3/4 cups. Next I'm going to come in with my baking soda, and that's 1 full teaspoon. And lastly, our salt, which was a 1/2 teaspoon. We're going to mix this, and we're going to do it really slowly. In fact, I'm going to try to incorporate some of this just like this before I even turn the mixer on, because we don't want it to poof up and cause an eruption all over our kitchen. I was going to say, or our clothes, but my clothes, as you can imagine, is already pretty much not worth saving at this rate. I'm already covered in stuff. So there is our cookie dough, looking pretty nice, if I do say so myself. I'm gonna take a tiny bowl here, and I'm just gonna fill it with some regular white granulated sugar for rolling our cookie dough in. So that's fine. However much you pour is probably gonna end up being too much, so just go ahead and eyeball it. But I've got a baking sheet here lined with parchment paper already, and I've got my handy dandy cookie scoop that I've been linking in the description box of all of my cookie videos in case you need one for yourself. But I'm just going to use this pretty much to help me measure. You want about 2 tablespoons of dough. So let's say like a golf ball sized amount. And we're going to roll that in our sugar. Roll it into a little ball. Rolling it into a ball should probably happen before you put it in the sugar. And then we're going to place it onto our parchment sheet lined pan. So my balls are not perfect, but I think that's okay because you guys know I like going for a rustic look. It's a homemade treat, and I think that there's nothing wrong with it looking homemade. If anything, it adds to the charm. It makes people realize that you put work into this because you like them and you want them to like this. So my cookie sheet typically holds about 12 cookies, leaving a nice amount of room in between them so that they have a chance to spread if they need to. And now what's going to happen once I've got my pan full of cookies is just like this in their little ball shape. I'm not going to flatten them or anything before we bake. I'm going to put them into our 375-degree oven, and I'm going to cook them for 8 to 10 minutes. I'm probably going to err on the side of longer because my oven tends to take a little longer than most. So I will be baking them for at least 10 minutes. I might even bake them for a little longer. But once they come out of the oven, I'm gonna top my cookies with my Hershey's Kisses, or their dupes as it were. So while they're baking, I'm gonna spend that time unwrapping the candy so that the candy is ready to go when the cookies are still warm from the oven. The aim is not necessarily to melt the candy, but just to make it easy for the candy to become one with the cookies. So there's our first batch. I'm feeling really good about the look of those. So they're gonna go into the oven for 10 minutes. They're going to poof a little. They're not gonna look raw, but they're not going to brown. So don't use color as a basis for whether these are ready to come out of the oven or not. Go by feel, basically. So like I said, I'm gonna start checking them at 10 minutes. You could start checking yours at 8. And once they come out, I'm gonna top them with their little kisses and then give them some time to cool a little bit and finish cooking on the pan before I try to move them. Alright Pallies, our first batch is done and they are looking beautiful, like magazine worthy, textbook peanut butter blossoms. So I'm going to go ahead and have a little bit of a taste test. Let's try to break it up so you can see the inside. That's looking lovely. I'm going to set you down for a moment and take a bite out of this bit. Wow, that is really, really rich. I don't think I could have more than like 1, maybe 2 of these with like a glass of something to help wash it down. But it is delicious. Like, how do you go wrong with peanut butter and chocolate? The cookie is perfect too because it's like nice and chewy and fluffy inside, but it's got a nice crunch on the outside and then that melty chocolate in the middle. These are perfect. Oh my gosh, I can't stop eating this. A mosquito just bit me. Let's try our best to ignore that. I know I had mentioned in the hot cocoa cookies video, which I'll post that one up here, that was my favorite recipe so far this season. I don't know if this is going to beat it out necessarily, but it's definitely a really, really close second. These are so good flavor-wise. The texture, they're so easy and so fast to put together. Really, really good recipe. If you decide to try these for yourself, I'd love for you to come on back and let me know how you like them. I am certain that you will. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying the 12 Days of Cookie series. I hope you guys have been enjoying Vlogmas. I've been putting out a brand new video every single day this month through Christmas Day, and it's been a blast. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you're subscribed and that you've clicked that notification bell because I have a ton of really fun stuff happening in the new year that I wouldn't want you to miss. So thanks for being here, thanks for watching, and happy holidays. Bye!